Hey there, it's me, Waifu Belector, the only fair human on Earth, and oh boy, people, it's almost that time, that good gaming time. What we'll still refer to as the E3 time of year. Rest in peace, E3. But the gaming announcements must go on, and so they shall. They're on their way. Summer Game Fest is just over the horizon, and within this usual summer of announcements, just about everyone you're hoping to hear from is preparing something to say. But of course, who I want to focus in on today is none other than those good old PlayStation boys and what they may have in store. Because aside from what will happen come the Summer Game Fest kickoff on June 7th, a lot of rumors have claimed that PlayStation will have a showcase in May, specifically late May. And if you look around, we're kinda in late May, but we're not completely out of time. We've still got a little over a week for this showcase to manifest. However, whenever it manifests, I want to talk about what we may see in it. Because if you remember, at the top of the year, or maybe it was late 2023, whatever, Sony said that PlayStation would have no major first-party franchise releases until April 2025, a decently long way off. So what the fuck are they gonna show? Well, let's talk about it. And remember to leave a like and consider subscribing if you end up enjoying this. Alright, let's go. Now to be honest, I actually find this a little more exciting because we don't have huge first-party games to speculate about. No God of War, The Last of Us, Horizon, none of that shit. And not because I don't like those games. I like all of those games. But we've always known PlayStation wasn't gonna do nothing. And now, you wouldn't hold any kind of showcase if you didn't have anything to show. So it's fun to imagine some more surprising possibilities as opposed to big sequels. And PlayStation currently has a number of studios working on smaller, less established titles or completely new IP. One such title, and one I think we'll see during E3 season, is one that's already been announced. Concord by Firewalk Studios, a new studio under the PlayStation banner that has yet to deliver any games. This will be their first, and you probably forgot about this one, which is more than fair. Concord had a fucking 50-second cinematic teaser with no characters in it almost a year ago. So yeah, we forgot. But the thing is, this mysterious game was set to release this year in 2024. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of this year left to release in, but we haven't seen the game at all. So it's fairly safe to say it's probably not coming out this year anymore, right? Wrong. Earlier this month, during a financial call with investors, Sony cited Concord as a title releasing in 2024. So it would seem the game is still on track. However, we still haven't seen it, making now the perfect time to show it off for the first time. But you might be wondering what Concord is at all. Fair enough. Like I said, we haven't seen it, and what details we know are very general. All we know is that Concord will be a multiplayer-focused live service first-person shooter, and that leaves a lot to the imagination. First-person shooters can go many different directions. Is it a hero shooter like Overwatch? Is it a tactical shooter like CSGO? A blend of the two genres like Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege? Maybe it's even an arena shooter of yesteryear like Halo. We don't know. There's just not enough information. But I suspect that will change soon. The only thing I doubt they'll do with Concord is make it a looter shooter, because PlayStation already owns Destiny 2, and why compete with yourself? And they'll probably also avoid extraction shooters because Bungie's already doing one with Marathon. Personally, I'm not too sure what style of shooter I prefer for Concord. It's more important to me, I think, that the game looks good artistically and stylistically, and that it feels good to control. But if I had to pick, I think I'd go with hero shooter, because I think the market has reopened since Overwatch definitively fell off the throne. Not fell out of relevance, but fell off of the throne, certainly. I think that's why you have games like Marvel Rivals and Star Wars Hunters coming out now, because the throne is clearly vacant. So I wouldn't mind PlayStation entering a horse into that race. Now here's another game we might see, and it's one I really hope we do see. It's the new Team Asobi game. Team Asobi are the people who made Astro's Playroom, the free game that came with the PS5. And something we know is that they have been hard at work on a more full-bodied game that presumably will not be free for around 3 years now. And if rumors are to be believed, that game is a full-length game featuring Astrobot. So another 3D platforming Astrobot adventure, but this time it won't be so miniature in size, and it won't be free. However, I imagine it won't be $70 either. I can't remember the last time someone charged full price for a 3D platformer. Is that even allowed anymore? So yeah, no fucking way this is gonna be full priced, but I will say I'm very excited for this. Outside of Astro's Playroom being really good, I just love 3D platformers. They're just so fucking fun and chill and cute and endearing and just are fucking video games, you know? They just are video games. And I love them. The genre has obviously fallen into the background as video games have gotten more complex, and especially as we have been in this era where every video game has to be some painful challenge gauntlet, and 3D platformers just tend to be the complete opposite of that. So they aren't exactly in demand, but they do show up every now and then. And the gap between worthwhile ones and then great ones are far between and then further still. But from what I played in Astro's Playroom, I'm in for a great one if we do in fact get a full-fledged Astro game. I'm talking up there with the likes of A Hat in Time and even Mario's 3D outings. Mario and A Hat in Time are kind of the 3D platforming benchmarks to me, but I'm excited at the possibility that Astrobot might join them soon. Okay, next up at what we could possibly see from PlayStation in the near future is whatever Housemarque is currently working on. Housemarque, if you remember, are the developers of Returnal from 2021. They've done other pseudo-notable games like Resogun, but the only game they've done as part of PlayStation Studios is Returnal. And now we know they've been working on an unknown, entirely new game. Obviously, the first thing that pops up into a lot of our heads is Returnal 2, which would be cool, would be exciting. I enjoyed Returnal. I was actually ready to give up on the roguelike/roguelite genre altogether just before Returnal had released, and decided that Returnal would be the last one I tried. And if I didn't really like it, then the genre just wasn't for me because I just failed to mesh with it. I'd even bounced off the almighty Hades, but I really enjoyed Returnal and decided I didn't have to throw away the whole roguelike genre. So yeah, I think a second game would be really cool eventually. However, it seems to have been confirmed that Housemarque's next game is an all-new IP, and we really don't know anything about it. I mean, really just about nothing. They've only said that the game will be more ambitious than Returnal, but will retain their signature arcade-style gameplay. And yeah, just not a lot to pull from that. You can imagine a whole hell of a lot of different shit from that description. So I am excited for the possible announcement of a new Housemarque game, but what specifically about that game am I excited for? I have no idea. Anyway, moving on now to a game that sure we might see, but I'm not too excited to see, honestly. I'm talking about Fair Games from Haven Studios. Much like Concord, Fair Games is being developed by a currently unproven PlayStation studio, and like all of these games, we don't know a ton about it. We do know that it's a multiplayer heist game, but the info really stops there, and we're left to sort of pull what we can from a cinematic trailer, which is not much, but it does end up being at least some aesthetics and general tones that we can pull. And I honestly do not love those aesthetics and tones. I don't know, it's like a bunch of near future sci-fi cool kids stealing stuff or competing to steal stuff with other cool thieves or some shit. I don't even fucking know. It looked pretty bland, pretty dry, and just unfortunately doesn't excite me. Same goes for the heist game genre choice. To be honest, I'm really unfamiliar with the intricacies of heist games. The only game in the genre I can even think of off the top of my head is Payday, and I never got into Payday. Just never looked like my thing, so I guess it's no surprise that fair games doesn't exactly excite me. However, I think there's a decent chance we see fair games in the coming weeks, and I'm open to being pleasantly surprised by what will hopefully turn out to be a more attractive looking game when we actually see the gameplay. I mean, I'm likely gonna play it regardless so long as it doesn't look like complete ass, but how much I'm gonna play it is dependent firstly on how it looks and then how it plays. So I guess we'll see. But okay, the last game I'm gonna talk about that might show up is actually a big one. And I know we established that no big major franchise sequels would be showing up until April 2025, but more specifically, PlayStation said no big sequels would release before April 2025. And that's why I think we will see Ghost of Tsushima 2. I think they'll announce Ghost of Tsushima 2 this year with the 2025 release window that will ultimately end up being a post-April 2025 release date. So there's my little loophole. That's what I think will happen, and obviously that would be a very exciting announcement. It feels like we're overdue for a Ghost 2 announcement. I've honestly thought we'd get a Ghost 2 announcement for like the past 3 PlayStation showcases, and it never shows up. This time's gotta be the one. They just released the PC port, they've got new people in on the franchise. Perfect time to hype those people up for a new one that might get them to buy a PS5. It can also be cool if we get an accompanying movie trailer or teaser, because if you remember, there is a Ghost of Tsushima movie in the works, and that got announced quite a while ago. I can't remember exactly when, but it was a while ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if they've got a little something to show. But more importantly, back to the game. With how long Ghost 2 has been taking, it's been 4 years, and if I'm right, it'll be 5 when the game actually releases. This thing is probably going to be substantially bigger, substantially fuller, and with any luck, substantially better than Ghost 1, which was already a great game. So yeah, I believe this will happen. I've convinced myself that this is what will happen, and of course, I'm excited about it. So yeah, there you go. Some games to possibly expect or be excited about that might be coming from PlayStation during the Summer Game Fest period, announcement season, E3 season thing. There can always be something that we are completely unaware of, things we, the public, aren't privy to, but this is what I've got for you. These are the things I'm expecting to varying degrees, and I can't wait to see how fucking wrong I end up being. Anyway though, I guess I'm finished here. Let me know what you think we could hear soon from PlayStation, and of course, leave your comments about how stupid and wrong I am, and perhaps if you enjoyed this, consider liking and subscribing. But even if you don't, thanks for watching. Until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I'm excited for new game announcements. Goodbye.